Hi, loves. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show. How are you feeling? I am your host, Marli Ansel at Marli Ansel on the Instagrams, and this is the morning show. Happy Wednesday. How are you feeling? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm feeling. I am feeling today. Good morning. Say hello as you're jumping on. Woo, happy Wednesday. So, as you may have seen in the title, today we are talking about stop trying, start becoming. Whew, whew, we're going to get into it all. But before we do, hi, Chris, good morning. Let's just talk about the vibe. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about our hormone. No, but I do want to point this out. So I've talked about this on the show before for the women out there. We operate in 4 phases that work in conjunction with our cycle. And when we are in the luteal phase into the menstrual phase, our energy significantly drops. And this is such an important thing to point out. We've talked about it before, but we're going to do a little Cliff's Notes version right now. So, when you are on your period and about the 2 weeks before your period, you are in a it's I call it the luteal drop because your hormone system is quite literally entirely different than what it is when you're in the follicular phase and your ovulation phase. So I want you to think about it like this. You have 2 weeks of the follicular and the ovulation. During that time, you are extroverted, you're magnetic, you're actually physically stronger. You can physically like pick things up that you would not be normally able to pick up in the other half of the phases. You like people, you are more energetically outward. All of this is to say you have more energy. When you're in the luteal phase, and particularly when the shift happens from ovulation to the luteal, it does what's called the luteal drop. The luteal drop is a significant drop in your hormones. Now, I'm not going to, it's estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. I'm not going to say this one to that one because I don't know it like that and I'll botch it. But what I do know is that there's a significant drop. And when you have that significant drop, you feel it. Okay. You feel it. And you quite literally are shifting into an entirely different being. So but it's so much better to think about it this way. Like as women, we are 2 different people every single month. We are the outgoing, the energetic, I can take on the world. And then we're the like, I am going to cozy up with my blanket. I only want to talk to animals and be in nature. I don't want to do anything. Like it's that drastic. So anyway, all of that is to say the other day, I was like, my gosh, I'm so tired. Like, this is crazy because I had slept that day. It was like Saturday or something, and we had slept until like 10 o'clock. So it was not a lack of sleep, but I was so tired. I was like, gosh, I wonder why I'm so tired. Well, the next day, I get up because I track it all on my calendar. I get up, I look, day before, luteal drop. And it is that drastic. So, all of that is to say that if you feel a significant drop in energy, start checking in on your cycle. Because for us, for women, it affects you so significantly. And we've been trained, here we go. Here we go. Everybody got their notebooks out, get ready. Like, we have been trained to operate and hustle like a man when our inner systems, our literal biology does not work like that. It does not work like that. Now, listen, here's how we do work. And this is what's really cool. In that 2 weeks, when you're in the follicular and the ovulation phase, you can do the amount of work that would take most people the entire month to do it. So you have the capability in those 2 weeks to like get shit done. Get shit done. You have the energy for it. You have the mental clarity for it. It's a totally different world. And this is your hormonal system. Okay. This is not like a willpower and become energetically divine thing. This is your hormonal system that does this. You have the capability to do so much in that first 2 weeks. So that in the latter half of the second 2 weeks, it's not that we do nothing because that's not life. but it's that you don't have to do as much. So you kind of workload on this end, workload in the follicular and the ovulation stage, because that's when you really have the opportunity to like put out some output and it feels good. So that then in that latter half of those last 2 weeks, that's when you kind of do the behind the scenes stuff. That's when you kind of just like relax a little bit. You don't require yourself to be on as much. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, life is life, and sometimes we gotta be on in those last 2 weeks, right? Like, the morning show don't quit just because I'm in my follicular and my luteal phase. So, in those times, what you wanna do is just be in the energy you're in. Be in the energy that you're in. Stop trying. Just be in the energy that you're in. Because when you try to be in a different energy than you're actually in, meaning you try to, like, force extroversion, force energy, force friendliness. It's awkward, isn't it? You guys know that feeling. You know the feeling when someone is like trying to force their personality, when someone is just like not terribly authentic. It's painful, isn't it? It's cringy. You're like, ugh, I gotta go. So, knowing this stuff, I feel is really, really helpful. And the reason it's top of mind right now is because today I feel a whole lot. I am feeling it. I'm feeling a whole lot. And knowing that part of it is hormonal is very helpful. It's very, very helpful. Like, so when you want to cry for no reason, it's okay, right? It's okay. Okay, so we're diving in, and this is going to lead us perfectly there. Amber said, very affected by this year and increasingly so. Yeah. And if you're imbalanced, which the majority of women are, because this has not been, in the education of our bodies, if you're imbalanced, you're going to feel it a whole lot more. It's going to be really off for you. And the imbalances happen through our diet, through stress in our body, through not getting enough sleep, through pushing our bodies forward when our bodies need rest. The imbalances happen on a physical level like that, but also on an energetic level. If you are forcing productivity and suppressing joy, that's going to really throw you off. I'm writing a whole post about that right now. So look for that to come out on Instagram. But when our society has conditioned us to prioritize being productive and achieving for our worthiness, and if we're not being productive in a day, we don't feel worthy. If we didn't achieve something for the day, we feel invalid. And so we're constantly ignoring our bodies, our feminine energy, our intuition. And in doing so, we're suppressing life force and we're trying to charge forward from the ego, because the ego is the energy of survival. And I have to, and my worth is dependent on it, and all of these things. That's going to really throw you off balance. We won't get into all of that today. Today, we're talking about stop trying, because we need to talk about it. Stop trying, start becoming. What does this mean? You guys know I teach energy. We talk a lot about energetic frequencies because it's the foundation of everything that is. What do you think occurs on the frequency of trying? Just drop it in the comments. What do you think happens on the frequency of trying? Frequency levels, remember, is like floors in a building. It's your level of reality that you're operating in. So on the frequency level of trying, do you actually get anywhere? Do you actually see a result in trying? Do you think that you are embodied in your wholeness and your power? Exactly, Chris. It doesn't create anything. Trying doesn't create anything. Trying keeps you in a perpetual loop. Now, when we think about this, again, we've been conditioned, right? We have to deprogram the program. Like, your mind is a hard drive operating in the computer of your brain, and it's been programmed like all of these things. And we've just been looping in it until we wake up and we get conscious to it, right? So when you're trying, oh my gosh. Okay, so here's how it works. When you're trying, you will unconsciously do things that literally get you nowhere. When you're trying, you're like, I'm just trying to make this work. I'm just trying to get this out. I'm just trying to do the things I know I need to do. Like I'm just trying to do it. You will unconsciously sabotage actual results. You will unconsciously sabotage actual creation when you're trying. Yes, it's like a hamster in a wheel because when you're trying, you're not actually doing what's gonna move things forward. You're not actually doing what's gonna create anything. And in fact, and here's the real inception-y part of it, you're always creating. Like you're always creating precisely to the vibration you're holding. So if you are in a vibration of trying, you are precisely manifesting a reality of trying. Right? It's like oblivion. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. Okay. So the solution, as we may have already guessed, is stop trying and start becoming. Now we hear this in terms of like the inner work and the personal development and all of these ideas. If you want something, become the vibration you seek. Become it. Become it, become it, become it. But what does that mean? Because we grow up with like, you got to hustle for your worth. If you don't do a bunch of shit, you're not productive. And if you don't achieve things, you're not worthy. So, what does that set us up for? A lifetime of trying to be productive, trying to be worthy, trying to be valid. And you're looking around at the external world to see if you've made it. It's right? Like the emoji with the like swirly eyes are like, oh my God. Amber said it's the idea of things happening to you instead of you making things happen. Yeah. So you're always that, and big subjects, big subjects. You're always creating what's happening, but you're so powerful that you can create the illusion that it's happening to you. I know. I know. I don't think we have time to talk about all of that today, but you're always creating it. You are correct, Amber. You could be in the perception like it's happening to you. So, in the trying frequency, great point. In the trying frequency, you will unconsciously create a situation that's always working against you. Did we hear it? Like, did it hit you in the gut? Like, oh God. In the trying frequency, you will unconsciously create a reality that is always working against you because you're trying. I'm trying. What is the identity of a trying frequency? Think about that. What's the identity of a trying frequency? If I'm trying, immediately, it's a victimized identity, isn't it? I'm trying, but it's all working against me. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to do. Oh, right? Now, no shame in the game. We've all been there. We all did it. I did it this morning. Okay. I did it this morning. It's not about it's truly not about never going there. It's about recognizing when you're there. You know what I mean? It's about recognizing when you shift into that victimized state as if your reality is against you. So what we have to do is start to get very crystal clear. Krista, that hit in a way I needed to hear it today. I feel you, girl. We've got to get really crystal clear on what I actually want. You know what I mean? Like, what am I actually trying to create? Right? Start with your trying frequency. What am I actually trying to create? Wasn't that Yoda? Do or do not, there is no try, or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'm not a Star Wars person, but I do think so. That's so funny. I had a client in a year-long mastermind that I did, and she used to call me Yoda. She's like, "You're so wise, Marley, like Yoda." I was like, "Oh my god." Anyway, okay, so you gotta get really crystal clear on what you're trying to create, okay? Get clear on the end result. What are you trying to create? When you have that end result, recognize that in that end result, it already is. Now, what I mean by that is like you've got the clear vision, you know exactly what's happening here. And if you really look at that vision in your mind, if you're really super clear on what you actually want, we won't go there yet. Okay. You really, really crystal clear on what you actually want. You will see physical things in your mind, right? You'll see physical things that need to happen or that are instead of instead of being here and trying and seeing that vision and doing this climb thing where you're like, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. Start one, recognizing this already exists and you can see what's there. So let me see if I can break this in a practical example that can really okay. I have a garden outside. I did not used to have a garden outside. Stick with me. Very practical example here. I have a garden outside. In that garden, it has exponentially grown, right? I knew that I wanted to grow things. I just felt this very innate pull. I have to put things in the ground and I need to watch them grow. I need to do that. Okay. If I had the picture of the garden in my mind and I'm in a trying frequency, I'm going to put 18 obstacles unconsciously between me and that end result creation. So that might look like we live in suburbia. We can't have a garden. We have a suburban backyard. I can only have a garden if I have a lot of land. So I need to get a house that has a lot of land before I can have a garden. I've got to, make more time because it's gonna take a lot of time. So I'm gonna need to get to a place where I have more time in my day first. And then when I have more time in my day first, then I'll be able to start doing that. Oh, but I've got to get the land. Okay, so to get the land, I'm gonna have to make some more money. Okay, so what do I need to do to make some more money? Do you see? When you're in the trying frequency, you will line up impossible, we won't say impossible, but impossible, seemingly impossible obstacles, boom, 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 right in front of you that unconsciously keep the vision away. Does this make sense? Or I want a garden. Robert, Robert, husband, I need you to build me a garden box and I got to put dirt in it and I got to put seeds in it. Or you just do the thing with what you got right now. Does this make sense? So when you're in trying, it's going to build a mountain between you and what you want. But when you are in decision, which is the becoming, you just do it. You just do it. You see what's in your mind and you build it. You put things into place immediately right away. Okay, another example. One of the things that I see in the vision of my mind of my next chapter that I want to be in is a whole lot of like very intentional slowness, presence. Like I want to be with the kids. I want to like teach them my ways. I want to teach them about like the magic of nature. I want them to be more physically conscious. They see me working out all the time. They want to work out, but I don't take the time to like show them the way. You see what I'm saying? More slowness, more presence, all of that. That's just one of the things that is really, really standing out to me. Okay. So if I'm trying to do that, we already see where we're going here. If I'm trying to do that, I'm gonna go, well, I just don't really have time in my schedule to do that. Like, yeah, I know, like, I'm about to work out right now, but like, I've got 30 minutes to work out. I just really don't have time to teach them that. And then you're going to unconsciously create a shortness of patience because you feel like you don't have time because you're operating in a frequency where nothing is created. Of course, you don't have time. Or, and this is a real life example here, our community center here hosts yoga twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Now, I had the part of my brain go, you don't have time to do that. You've got so much to do. You don't have time to go to yoga with the kids. You've got to do this, 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 this. You got to get this up and running and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. Or I can see the vision of my next chapter. And I can see that this is a part of it. Is this part of what I want my life to be? Yes. So then the only way to merge with the vision is to start becoming the vision now. Is this clicking for everybody? When you put it here and you're in trying, and there's this massive mountain between you and what you want, you will unconsciously create all of these obstacles you've got to go through, all of these things that feel completely impossible. And all of it is just a big ego trick to get you to stay exactly where you are. So you're not trying to get there, you're trying to bring it here. merge, merge with the vision. Okay. So I'm talking with Robert about this because this is like in my mind, right? So I'm talking with Robert about it. And he says, so a lot of my husband, Robert, those of you who don't know, my husband, Robert, has like what we call drive by genius. Like, just, he will say just seemingly out of nowhere things. And I'll be like, that was so profound. And he's like, what? Huh? That was so profound. How do you do that? Okay, anyway. So I'm talking with him about it, and he's vibing with me on this, and he says, hang on, I wrote it down because I want to make sure. He goes, yeah, the only way to live the life that you want to live is to start doing the things that are the life you want to live. Did everyone hear it? Did everyone hear how simple that is? The only way to live the life you want to live is to start doing the things that are the life you want to live. How many times have you personally, and how many times have you seen other people line up a bunch of stuff they don't want to do in the name of trying to get to the life they want? It doesn't even make sense when we think about it. Okay, so I want you to picture it like this: life that you want, puzzle pieces. Literally think about it like puzzle pieces. The whole big picture, and there's little puzzle pieces. That has certain puzzle pieces, right? And you're here. And you're grabbing puzzle pieces in the trying frequency, in the survival frequency, in the fear frequency, and you're doing stuff because you think you should and you think you have to. And you're like, but I have to, I'm really trying to. And you're putting together this real janked up puzzle over here. Is that puzzle ever going to be that puzzle? Can you build the puzzle of the life that you want with a totally different puzzle piece set? It's crazy when we talk about it out loud, but we do this unconsciously all the time. I'm guilty of it too. All right. I am not elite over here, but we got to get aware of it. So if you think about this as a puzzle piece, and each little part of it, or a puzzle, and each little part of it is a piece, can you start building your life now with a piece of that puzzle? And then another piece of that puzzle, and then another piece of that puzzle, and then another piece of that puzzle. If you continue to do that, will you be existing in that reality in no time? 100%, right? But we complicate it. Catch yourself, catch yourself, catch the butt that just went through your head. You know what I mean? Catch it. Because it's going to say, but I can't because that's the trying frequency. You got to get out of it. You got to say, okay, what do I have available to build my garden now? What can I do to take one puzzle piece out of that and implement it into my life now? Building the puzzle piece or building the puzzle piece by piece, so that before you know it, you do that consistently, you'll be existing in a totally different reality entirely. Can I build my puzzle of my life here right now? So, in the example with the kids, I want to live the life where I take the girls to yoga on Tuesday and Thursday because it's summer and we're having Smart Fit summer. By the way, pro tip, if you want to get your kids excited about like doing awesome things for themselves during the summer, theme it out, create a theme. We have created Smart Fit Summer, where every morning the kids read for 30 minutes, they do multiplication facts, And then they play and they do all their things. And then in the afternoon, we go and do some sort of like fitness workout, something. Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to do yoga. Smart Fit Summer, right? So I want this to be a part of my life. But I could just as easily say, maybe next summer, I'm really busy right now. I've got to make sure that I get all this other stuff done because if I don't get it done, and you immediately see that it's fear based. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're operating in the fear frequency, the survival frequency, the trying frequency, thinking someday, one day, it might lead to abundance and flow and ease. And it won't. And it won't. And the shift requires courage. It requires a really deep level of self love, which I know is tough for a lot of us, especially considering the amount of trauma that exists in most people's bodies because of the experiences we've had. But it requires a prioritization of what you actually want to be living in your life. And you can't put that off because you'll put it off indefinitely. Do you know what I mean? We can pacify ourselves for a lifetime saying, I'm going to get there later. I'm going to get there later. Now, it's just my personality, but I really operate in extremes. And this has always been a very, like, ever since probably 2017, when I hit that first, second rock bottom, where I was in the corporate job doing the should stuff and miserable. And I really, really started implementing the spiritual and personal development. Like it pushed me into a seeking path. Like there has to be more, you know? And one of the things that just stood out to me so much is we only have right now. We don't have future and we don't have past. Future's a thought, past is a thought. We only ever have right now. And so if I don't make a shift in who I be and what I do right now, I am choosing to continue in the same aspect, to continue in the same life. And so what you have to ask yourself is if everything in my life right here right now is everything in my life right here right now, am I good with it staying that way forever? Right? Because if there are things in your life where your whole body just went, no, then the only way to shift that in the future is to make that change right now. You have to make that change right now. Because, and it doesn't matter, like it can be monumental, it can be this huge, massive shift, or it can be a tiny little thing, like you start going to yoga, which I guess could be a really big thing too, you know? But you see what I'm saying? Like you have to shift something here in the now. Back then, the big extreme thing that I did because I didn't know what else to do, which by the way, you always are given a step, you're always given a step. We may not be a perfect energetic match for the whole big picture, but we are a perfect energetic match for the first step. So back then, the only thing I knew to do was to start getting up earlier and meditate. That was the only thing I knew to do. I didn't meditate at the time. And I was like, I know this is something I can do. And I didn't know anything else to do. Those of you who watched the episode on the morning routine, you know this was the catalyst for shifting into an entirely different reality. I had to do something different in the present if I ever hoped to have a different future. But most people pacify the present in the name of someday, one day, it's going to be different. But it's not going to be different if you don't become different. Do you see what I'm saying? So when we're operating in trying, it is actually us pacifying ourselves from making a change. It's actually us saying, "No, I'll do it later. I'm really trying to do it right now, but later it's going to be easier. One day it's going to work." Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to start making a really full whole body. Like, what do I actually need to implement here? Not try. What needs to happen here in the now? What's the difference between I'm trying to get to yoga with the kids and I schedule it in the calendar, kids, we're going to yoga tomorrow at 10 a.m. Right? We're going. It's happening. So what's cool, Chris, I'm so glad. What's cool about it is when you make that full body decision, everything in this universe rearranges to support you. Everything in the universe rearranges to support you. When you're in trying, it's supporting you in trying. She wants to try. She doesn't want anything to happen. Okay, great. She's going to stay in trying. Amazing. But once you say, I'm done with trying, I'm done with unconsciously putting obstacles in between myself and what I actually want, I'm going to just do what I want. And you start bringing that piece by piece into the present here and now, everything in this universe lines up to support you in that. You're going to see, literally, you're going to see life start rearranging to support your decisions. That's the magic. Oh, that's the magic. But that's the power we have. You guys may have seen yesterday, I announced a new program called Soulpreneur Coding. All of this is coming from that first module because in that, we're talking about building yourself. We're so conditioned to rely on what's happening in the external world to feel good about who we are. And that's a roller coaster, isn't it? Like, and I get it. Like, I've been there and I've done it, still do it sometimes. But that's a roller coaster. And that is not going to arrive you where you actually want to be. This entire universe is reflecting you to you. So the change has to come from a deep internal, full mind, body, soul decision. I'm done trying. I'm done. And you feel the energy of trying. You know the energy of trying. The energy of trying is like this stretchy, like, ugh. What's the energy of actually doing it? Clean, powerful, all in, right? So I could go on for days, but I'm not going to. um, Friday, we're going to do Q&A. If you have a question for the show, you can submit that question at marlyansel.com/the morning show. If you want to know more details about the newest program, Soulpreneur Coding, it is on building your internal power to be able to handle any circumstance in your life. That is a phenomenal program. And right now, I have it for 60% off. So I'm giving you a special code for 60% off. You can check out all of the details in the link in my bio. If you're on YouTube, it'll be in the show notes below. And we will be back here on Friday for another episode of The Morning Show. Again, submit your questions. I love your questions, especially if, we've been talking about some pretty deep subjects. If things have come up for you or you want to talk about a very specific situation that's happening for you, feel free to just bare your soul in the question box. You can leave it totally anonymous if you would like. Okay, my loves, I love you so much. If this resonated with you today, please share the show. It helps us to grow our impact. And I will see you back here on Friday for another episode of The Morning Show. Goodbye, my loves.